Spotify and Universal have reached a new agreement, which includes a direct partnership with Universal Music Publishing Group in the United States. Naomi Girma has become the first women's soccer player to earn $1 million, following her.
A remarkable sword from the 6th century, adorned with runes, was discovered in an Anglo-Saxon burial site close to Canterbury in Kent. Following a volcanic eruption, the ancient Danes presented sunstones to the deities in hopes of restoring the light, as it is believed that ancient societies may have carved sunstones to alleviate volcanic winter. The World Monuments Fund has included the moon among its list of sites at risk.
Germany plans to intercept drones in proximity to military installations. A Russian court sentences 3 attorneys representing the deceased Russian opposition figure Alexei Navalny to imprisonment. U.S. sanctions against Russia are impacting oil freight rates. Netanyahu expresses gratitude to Trump and Biden for their assistance in the Gaza hostage agreement, as reported by the Israel Prime Minister's office. Both Trump and Biden assert their roles in the Gaza ceasefire agreement, with Biden mentioning that Americans will be included among the hostages released and humorously declining to acknowledge Trump's contribution to finalizing the deal. Is that a joke? According to Reuters, the Trump team requests the resignation of 3 senior U.S. career diplomats, as indicated by sources. Musk is reportedly involved in efforts to secure the release of an Italian imprisoned in Iran.
Russia plotted terror attacks on airlines around the world, Poland's Tusk says. Trump advisors concede Ukraine peace deal is months away. U.S. sanctions Chinese and Kyrgyz firms supporting Russia's war in Ukraine.
The Trump administration has terminated several immigration court officials, marking the start of a crackdown. Trump has signed extensive executive actions on immigration, initiating efforts to abolish birthright citizenship. According to the Wall Street Journal, Trump will present his trade vision but will not introduce new tariffs at this time. Meanwhile, Bloomberg reports that Trump intends to implement a 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada by February 1st.
In the United States, Donald Trump is set to be sworn in as the 47th president. Russian President Vladimir Putin extends his congratulations to Trump prior to his inauguration, expressing willingness to engage in discussions regarding Ukraine and nuclear weapons. China's vice president holds meetings with Elon Musk and J.D. Vance in anticipation of Trump's inauguration.
Israel requests a delay from the United States in its withdrawal from South Lebanon, while Hezbollah warns against Israel's attempt to extend its occupation of Lebanon. The United States Air Force plans to enhance the Cyprus airbase to serve as a humanitarian staging point for the Middle East. Additionally, U.S. private security contractors will manage a crucial Gaza checkpoint, as officials confirm their involvement in overseeing the truce in Gaza.
Ships are reportedly preparing to depart from China with components for missile propellant, heading towards Iran, according to officials. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has expressed his desire to engage in nuclear discussions with both China and Russia. Additionally, the EU military chief has suggested that deploying European troops in Greenland could be a logical decision, as reported by Welt.
In the United States, a federal judge has issued a temporary injunction against Trump's executive order that seeks to redefine birthright citizenship. Meanwhile, the ICC prosecutor has made a formal request for warrants to be issued against Afghan Taliban leaders in connection with the persecution of women. Additionally, Pakistan's parliament has enacted a bill that imposes extensive controls over social media. Elon Musk is reportedly supporting UK far-right leader Tommy Robinson's legal battle, according to his followers. 2 weeks prior, Musk reportedly shifted his support from UK's Nigel Farage to the far-right figure Tommy Robinson. 3 months ago, the founder of the far-right English Defence League, Tommy Robinson, was sentenced to 18 months in prison for court contempt. Additionally, he was charged under the Terrorism Act before the far-right march in London. Harvard has reached a settlement with Jewish students who filed a lawsuit regarding campus anti-Semitism. In India, the government of Modi is reportedly planning to repatriate 18,000 Indians residing in the U.S. illegally. Israel's chief military officer steps down due to significant failures during the October 7th attack. Trump expresses doubt about the sustainability of the Gaza ceasefire and removes U.S. sanctions on Israeli settlers in the West Bank. According to the Wall Street Journal, Google hastened to sell AI technology to Israel's military following the Hamas attack.
Putin expresses willingness to meet Trump for a peaceful discussion. Ukraine plans to provide financial incentives to enhance military recruitment among individuals aged 18 to 25. Large numbers of Slovaks protest in the streets against Prime Minister Fico's support for Russia.
Trump suggests a plan to completely clear Gaza and relocate Palestinians to Jordan and Egypt. Albania plans to establish a Bektashi state similar to the Vatican in Tirana. A new Calexit proposal for California's secession has been approved for signature collection, aiming to place the measure on the ballot. Zelensky is no angel, as Trump criticizes Ukraine's president for wanting to fight at war's onset, and Trump suggests Ukraine shouldn't have fought back against Russia. Russia issued ultimatum to Ukraine in 2022 to replace Zelensky with pro-Kremlin oligarch Medvedchuk, president says. Hungary threatens to disrupt Russia's sanctions unless Ukraine reopens gas transit.
Rolls-Royce secures a record £9 billion contract from the UK Ministry of Defence for nuclear submarines. Israel instructs UNRWA to cease operations in Jerusalem and vacate its premises by January 30th. Putin reiterates Trump's assertion that the Ukraine conflict might have been prevented if he had been in power. Singapore's Prime Minister cautions against a third world war if the US and China compel the rest of the globe to choose sides. He notes that the likelihood of the US isolating itself from China is low and suggests that other nations can assist in managing their rivalry. Meanwhile, a Russian security official indicates that the risk of conflict between nuclear powers is increasing. Additionally, South Korea reports that North Korea is set to dispatch more troops to Russia following casualties. The Biden administration plans to allow Trump to enforce the TikTok ban. It has been reported that TikTok users are shifting to the Chinese app Red Note, causing concern among Beijing censors, and discussions about selling a stake in Zaya Hongshu, a TikTok competitor, have valued it at $20 billion. In the EU, Noib has submitted GDPR complaints against TikTok, AliExpress, SHN, Temu, WeChat, and Xiaomi for unauthorized data transfers to China. China has launched an investigation into U.S. chip grants and alleged dumping. Recently, the U.S. imposed blacklists on over 24 Chinese tech companies due to Huawei's use of TSMC chips in its System on Chip, SoC. Pete Hegseth, Trump's nominee for defense secretary, faced criticism after mistakenly referring to ASEAN as ASEAN, indicating he was unable to name the countries in the Southeast Asian bloc. Anduril, an AI military startup, is planning a $1 billion factory in Ohio.
Google informs EU that fact-checking is not suitable, declining to implement fact checks despite new EU regulation. The FBI disbanded its DI office in December, according to the agency. MIT discontinued its internal grant database after it was utilized to investigate the school's relationships with Israel.
The United States has introduced new regulations to limit the export of sophisticated semiconductor chips to China. Additionally, the Netherlands has agreed to comply with U.S. export restrictions on certain ASML chip manufacturing tools. Furthermore, the U.S. is implementing new export controls on biotechnology equipment due to concerns about China.
China's regional authorities increase minimum wages to stimulate spending. Hindenburg Research, the contentious short-selling firm that focused on Adani, experiences a collapse. Profits at U.S. banks grow as Wall Street anticipates a surge in mergers. The European Union intensifies its investigation into Elon Musk's platform, X, focusing on content moderation and requesting an examination of X's recommendation algorithms. Former European leaders advocate for the division of Google's ad technology. The New York Times reveals that a Trump oligarchy is relocating to Washington and acquiring prestigious addresses.
VTB Bank will be the first Russian financial institution to establish a branch in Iran. The volume of trade between Afghanistan and Iran rose by 84% in the previous year. Russia and Iran have concluded the route for their gas pipeline through Azerbaijan, with price negotiations nearing completion.
Kennedy attempted to halt COVID vaccinations 6 months following their introduction. In the United States, Moderna received $590 million from the HHS to expedite the development of an mRNA-based bird flu vaccine. Ozempic, Wegovy, and other medications are included in the 15 chosen for Medicare's price negotiations.
Vitalik Buterin outlines significant shifts in Ethereum Foundation leadership, following demands for fresh leadership. Foxconn, Apple's partner, reveals plans to deploy humanoids in iPhone manufacturing facilities. China's Comac, the C919 jet manufacturer, targets flights in Southeast Asia by 2026, while Comac, the Chinese aircraft firm, aspires to double the production of C919 passenger planes this year. Ukraine's armed forces have reached a strength of 880,000 personnel, according to Zelensky, as they confront 600,000 Russian soldiers. Russia has declared its intention to oppose any collaboration between the UK and Ukraine in the Sea of Azov.